Hank, welcome into the Blitz. How you doing this morning?
Hey, Martin, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, man, Nick Saban has made the adjustment to the new recruiting calendar. Just kind of give our listeners an update on what's been the week in the life of Nick Saban and Alabama recruiting.
Yeah, it's been a busy one. It's certainly polar opposites compared to this time last spring. I think Bama at this point still only had 3 commitments. They were well outside the top 50 of the recruiting rankings. And just it didn't seem like a lot was going right for Alabama on the recruiting trail. At that time, it's been a very busy April and a very busy beginning to May. This week alone, it started out on Sunday night. Amari Kite announced his commitment to Alabama with a video with BamaOnline.com. And then on Tuesday, Kevin Harris, top 100 edge rusher, committed to Alabama alongside a few of his Grayson teammates in Georgia. And then yesterday afternoon, everyone saw that 4-star defensive tackle DJ Dale also announced his commitment to Alabama with 24/7 Sports. So Bama retook the number 1 spot with Kevin Harris's commitment, but with DJ Dale last night, that kind of just strengthened their hold on it. I don't think at this point they're going to give up that number 1 spot for the rest of the recruiting class. I feel comfortable saying that at this point. We'll see. They have a pretty good lead on Oklahoma, who's the number 2 team right now. Obviously, a lot can happen, but I think Alabama's class score right now, as far as our 24/7 Sports team rankings go, is 235.91. To compare that to last year's class, their final score was number 6 was 284.95. So
what?
They're almost at last year's class score with 12 commitments in 2019. So
there's a 50-point difference with 19 recruits versus 12. Wow.
Yeah, this class is setting up to be a pretty good one. I don't think, like I said, I don't think they're going to let go of the number 1 spot again. I think they're going to carry this momentum on through the summer. I'm not saying I'm expecting more commitments anytime soon, but I don't think it's going to be a drought like we saw so often last year between commitments.
All right. As Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting, let's bring in a question with Pat, and then I got a couple questions I got to go back to you on as well. But, Pat, welcome into the Blitz.
Good morning, fellas, and good morning, Hank. Let's start with a low-hanging fruit with 5 stars. Running back in this class is very important. I'm going to say Trey Saunders, and then I want to go to the offensive line. I want to finish up with Clay Webb out of Oxford, Alabama, and then we need to go shopping really bad for the inside linebacker since we missed one last year. And let's go to Horn Lake, Mississippi for Nakobe Dean. And one wide receiver that we'll talk about is Devontae Lee out of Amite, Louisiana. And see what you think about those 4, and I'll hang up and listen to you guys.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you so much for what you do, Hank.
All right. Hank, did you get all of those?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Well, Trey Sanders, he's kind of an interesting one. He was, obviously everyone knows he was committed to Alabama for so long. He backed off that commitment last January, and he still said Bama was his leader. So he obviously still thought really highly of him. But in the months to follow, things have kind of trended away from Alabama. He's still a priority target. Nick Saban talked to him at the NFL draft. He's still certainly considering Alabama, but an interesting thing with Trey is his older brother actually just walked on at Florida. So there's a lot of momentum kind of shifting towards the Gators right now for him. Obviously, it's not over. He hasn't made a commitment, but things certainly look to be going that direction. I wouldn't project him in the class right now. Earlier in the spring, I thought it was Bama or Miami. I think it's probably Miami, Florida, and Bama kind of in there somewhere. So we'll see. There's a lot of time to go. I'm sure he'll be back on a visit this summer for an official in the fall, but still definitely an option. I know he's at Clay Webb, the 5-star center from Oxford. I feel like we've been talking about Clay Webb for forever now. He's taken his time with his decision. He's looking at Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Auburn, a few others. He said in the past that Alabama and Georgia kind of are out front for him. He won't name a leader, But I think it's pretty clear that it's going to be probably an in-state school. I know Georgia's in there as well. We'll see what happens. But I think at the end of the day, Clay Webb's going to commit to Alabama whenever he does make a decision. I think his ties to the program, his relationship with Brent Key, his relationship with Pierce Quick and Paul Tyson would just be too much for another school to overcome. I believe he said Nakobe Dean.
Yes.
He's probably the highest priority linebacker target for Alabama at this point. He's the number one inside linebacker in the nation. He's visited campus twice this spring. He's another guy. He's not planning to make a decision until in the fall after the season. I don't think unless he changes his timeline. But I think Bama's in a good spot for him right now. He certainly knows the need. I know Pete Golding has been able to build a really good relationship with him as his primary recruiter and potentially his future position coach. I think Bama's sitting in a good spot for Nakobe Dean. And then lastly, Devontae Lee. Devontae Lee is a former teammate of Devontae Smith, and I asked him about kind of their relationship. He said they're sort of close. They're not super close. Or no, I'm sorry, that was Ishmael Sopsher. I take that back. Devontae Lee and Devontae Smith know each other. They always went to the same high school. But, I mean, Bama's very good in that area of Louisiana. They have, obviously, Pete Golding's a really good recruiter. He had ties to Louisiana. They have a personnel staffer named Sam Petito on staff that is from that area. I think he got to start coaching at that high school. And he's been able to help land guys like Devontae Smith. Obviously, Shaheem Carter's from that area as well in the 2016 class. They had a commitment from at one point from Josh Perry in the 2016 class from the meet as well. So Bama's really good in that area as far as recruiting. And I think they're going to have a really good shot at Devontae Lee when all is said and done. Same with Ishmael Sopsher, even though he's not super close with Devontae Smith. I mean, they know each other, and they've all kind of come up working out together and being around the same people. But I think at the end of the day, Devontae Lee is probably trending towards Alabama. So we'll see what happens.
All right. That's Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Hank, you guys had an article, 247 Sports had an article come out that showed a stat that is mind-blowing to me. And I said in my question, and I haven't talked about it yet, I'll probably spend a little time on it tomorrow, but I wanted to get your thoughts. Alabama putting 5 stars, not in the league, but in the first round at a 48.3% clip, while all others put 5 stars, not in the league, but in the first round at a 17% clip. Have the recruits, have you guys heard anything from the recruits in terms of how that could flip the script? And I just said you guys handed Nick Saban the number one, handed him his crown back with that type of statistic.
Yeah, I'm actually rooming with the author of that story here, and we're at a 24/7 Sports conference in Nashville this week. But now, I thought it was funny, and I thought that was an amazing stat. But as soon as that story came out, a lot of the Alabama, not all the Alabama coaches, but a lot of the Alabama coaches were tweeting it.
That's right.
Tweeting my graphic, retweeting the story. So they obviously, that's kind of in their recruiting pitch bag this week as far as what they can offer 5-star players more so than other schools can.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes to show the development. I mean, from everything from the strength and conditioning, from football, obviously from Nick Saban and all this stuff that Bama offers them. I really don't know a much better recruiting tool when going after the best of the best in these 5-star players than that. So, yeah, I mean, I haven't heard much from recruits regarding that stat, but that's something Bama's talking to them about this week.
Yeah, I was like, well, just went another tool into the toolbox of recruiting. But I think the biggest thing is this staff. It took Nick Saban a year, but it appears that he has clearly changed his focus, changed his strategy in terms of a couple things. First of all, trying to get the evaluation period moved up earlier so he can accept commitments. And also one of the things that seem to be happening is if it's a top target in the state of Alabama and there's somebody they want, they're not playing around like they did last year, potentially with the Langhams of the world. Alabama picking up, I think it's third, not third, but in the last few weeks, their third commitment from the state of Alabama. They have more than that, of course, from the state, but DJ Dale, tell us a little bit about this space eater, 6'3", 320-plus pounds.
Yeah, we talked to DJ Dale's coach earlier there, I guess last week, kind of about what DJ brought to the table. And, yeah, I mean, he obviously tremendous size. He's going to be a space eater. He's going to play that nose tackle position in Bama's 3-4. But he's not just one of these guys that's that big and can't really move around. I mean, he's really athletic. He's a 4-year starter for Clay Chalkville. I think Coach Bielmer over at the school said that he's never seen somebody start for 4 years, especially on the defensive line on varsity.
Yeah, this is at a 7A school.
Yeah, I mean that's big time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not just some small program,
right?
But yeah, he said he's a leader of the team. They consider him one of the coaches on the field. He said he's a mismatch for everyone. Changes direction really well. He's quick off the ball. I mean, he's really everything you want in the defensive lineman. And once he gets into a program like Alabama, and can kind of shape his body, like mold his body more towards that position and kind of honing in his skill set. I think he's going to be a really special player for Alabama.
All right. Well, we got one last question for you, Hank. Hank South, 247 Sports, Bama Online Recruiting. Hank, when you look at this, Alabama has 12 commitments, half of them from the state of Alabama. We've mentioned Clay Webb. So right now you're looking at 7 if he comes. How many other guys within the state does Alabama take, and will this be the biggest haul that Alabama's had from the state of Alabama?
I mean, it certainly feels like it. I mean, Alabama's been blessed with a really good in-state group of talent. I mean, I think last year they signed 2 in-state guys. It wasn't a very strong class last year, but still they didn't get Connor Miller, they didn't get Asa Martin, they missed on Malik Langham late. So certainly I think it's a priority. It's always considered the lifeblood of the program, getting the in-state guys when they're there. But, I mean, in the end, you still have guys like Clay Webb out there, Mohamed Diabate from Auburn, a linebacker we don't really talk too much about, but he's a really good player, and I know Bama really likes him, so he's one to watch. And the weird thing is Auburn hasn't offered him yet. He lives in Auburn's backyard, and he hasn't been offered by Auburn. He's been offered by everybody else, but not Auburn. So
yeah,
that's something to watch. Levante Bentley out of Jackson Lynn, another inside linebacker that Bama could potentially really push for. And then a really interesting guy that I think is about to blow up come camp this summer at Alabama is Jaden Hill. He's the 4-star cornerback out of Madison, out of Bob Jones in Madison. He tested really well at the Atlanta opening earlier this spring, and I know our guys that were there were really impressed with him. He actually has a really good rating on 24/7 Sports at this point. I know that he probably needs to camp at Bama to kind of get evaluated a little bit more, but I think he could really see his stock soar this summer. So, I mean, we're looking at maybe potentially 3 or 4 more guys from in-state eventually joining the class. And obviously that could change as camp season rolls around.
All right. Well, that is Hank South, 247 Sports. Hank, let our listeners know how they can stay in touch with you and what you got coming up in the next week or so.
Yeah, for sure. You can follow us along at BamaOnline.com. We're doing a free 7-day trial right now. It's kind of a slow time recruiting-wise, but there's always something. The coaches are out on the road. Obviously, it's been a busy week with commitments, so it's always worth giving it a shot. And then you can follow me along on Twitter at HankSouth247.
That's at HankSouth247, a weekly part of the Blitz right here on your home for Alabama sports. Thanks, Hank. We'll catch up with you next week.
No problem. Thanks, man.